And we're back. Welcome to 2019. What is unlocking the code? That's a good question. And it's something that's been posed to myself and Angus and a lot of the boys that are attached to the podcast. So late last year, Angus and I sat down to try and unpack that. What is unlocking the code? What does it mean to us? What are we trying to do for other people who listen? Really try and unpack the podcast and what it's trying to do. And it's important to do, and there's a reason I hung on to this one for a while. I wanted it to be the first episode of 2019. Because with the podcast growing and more subscribers coming on board, I thought it was important that we give a fresh episode, you know, apart from the 5-minute intro where I'm sort of squeaking into a microphone that's not really well turned up or anything else like that. So apologies to those that have listened to that one. Have a more an updated version. Because moving into 2019, I want to step things up with the podcast. I want to have a bit more direction with it and really take it to the next level. So we sat down and tried to unpack what unlocking the code is. And I haven't listened to this one. And I'm actually, you know, I love the podcast as much as anyone else who's downloading this. So I'm looking forward to listening back to this one. Because there's a lot of ideas that we unpacked. As I say, it's important to try and see where you're going and understand it. So welcome to 2019, guys. Happy New Year. I put a bit of a prediction out late last year for a bit of fun, and I hold to that. Double down, guys. Reset, reflect, and continue the journey. And since you guys have heard from us, Bathe in the Sun has rocketed up so many charts, as with a few other Rowdy Strum songs, and how awesome is that? Well done to him, and very humbled to have a very small part of that. So those that have downloaded him because of this podcast, thank you very much. I know Jono's got some stuff coming on stream this year, and he's going to come on and share that with us later in the year. Got a number of really interesting guests that have already lined up for this year. I'm looking forward to where it goes and where it ends up. So I don't want to mess around too much, guys. Enjoy this one. Hopefully it provides some clarity around the question of what is unlocking the code. Thanks to Jono for the intro. Enjoy Bathe in the Sun. Remember, we're on Patreon, guys. Unlocking the code on Patreon. If you can give us some support, that'd be awesome. And do send us an email. We've got a lot of international guests. I'd love to know how you heard about us. That's unlockingthecode9@gmail.com. Please send us an email. Instagram, Facebook, all those things there. Looking forward to this year, guys. Let's have some fun. Keep your discipline up. Keep hustling. Keep hustling. Get after it. And welcome to the new year. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Today I sat in a field of paper daisies. The gentle breeze made the world wave to me. The day has come with a gold ring wrapped around it. I think I might just bathe in the sun. And I hope my world don't crash in over me, just like it did yesterday. I'm pretty sure the last mirror that I cracked was more than 7 years ago. And I don't want to wear those bullet holes no more. I want to kill my nightmare. And I've done nothing wrong to anyone. Then I just want to be better, better than who I am, better than who I am, better than who I am, better than who I am. Moonlit river flows by gently, like the ocean made from the earth. It is healing all of my inner bleeding, even though it's only pictures in my mind. And I hope my world don't crash in over me, just like it did yesterday. I'm pretty sure the last mirror that I cracked was more than 7 years ago. And I don't want to wear daisies. The gentle breeze made the world wave to me. The day has come with a gold ring wrapped around it. I think I might just bathe in the sun. I think I might just bathe in the sun. I think I might just bathe in the sun.
Mate,
Welcome. How you going?
good man. Good, in the refinery again, mate.
After the big poker night.
The big poker night, the Magnificent Seven. We
We
have to touch on that. Just before we get into what we want to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight, we've got to get into that just for a second because
Well, I think
that's a fucking good podcast, man. Because it sort of relates to what we're talking about.
Well,
tonight.
it's kind of what brought it to mind.
Yeah.
The questions that were posed
Yeah.
really made us reflect and think.
And then and Trent also posed the question we're talking about tonight when he said to us, "What is unlocking the code?"
That's right. Trent posed a question.
And then
Richard's posed a question.
Yeah, it's like people have asked us,
Everyone asks it when they first meet us.
so we thought we'd better think about it.
Well, let's really nail it down and flesh it out. And
And I do think you're right, though. On the back of the Magnificent Seven podcast, that experience has cemented it in because that was a pretty fucking cool night, man. Like that.
well, that night was a true culmination of what we've been working towards.
Yeah.
That group of guys
Yeah.
had been kind of handpicked by the podcast
Yeah.
and brought together from all walks of life, from all walks
Two
of
of those
life.
boys have had lice for sure.
Definitely, dirty backpackers. The more travelled you are, the more lice you meet. No, so yeah, all walks of life, all different areas, and yet, like we've said, we've all come together at this crossroads in a journey
Yes.
where we're all meeting up of a similar mind.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, just to put a bit more attention on it, I did sort of mention it quickly that the guys, the gentlemen of the Magnificent Seven podcast that we had represent
Over 4,000 hours
of
content.
4,000 downloads.
Downloads, sorry.
Not hours yet, mate.
Woo! That's one of them, like, pyramid logistics things, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
completely
Just
stuff
throwing
that up.
numbers
At least
out
you
there.
pulled it up straight up
Yeah.
instead of going like we did last time.
However, yeah, over like 2/3.
Sorry, 4,000 downloads,
Over
yeah.
over 2/3 of our downloads.
Nice.
Those blokes have been responsible, for and
Yeah,
part
exactly.
of. You know?
Well, they've helped create the content that's
Yeah.
become those downloads.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's awesome, man. And we're ever grateful.
Absolutely, and to get them together in one room, and we haven't really spoken about it since the night. Have
No,
we?
you and I have not debriefed
The Magnificent
the
Seven.
Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, let's do that quickly because I said it on the night. I said, listen, boys, we don't have to release this.
Yeah. But can I just say, you did an awesome job of mediating. You know, you ran that thing really well. And so in combination, the behaviour of the boys, like everyone behaved themselves. Everyone had been on the podcast, but everyone is also a conversationalist.
Mm.
And it's something that came to mind today when Kerry posted Kerry from Do Anything for a Buck,
Yeah.
a guest from ages ago that wasn't at the poker night,
No.
but he posted something today about the art of conversation and this lady's 10 rules. It was a TED talk.
Mm.
And it was really quite good. And I think in some ways we tick some of those boxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not professing to be awesome at it,
No.
but I think someone who is a natural conversationalist naturally ticks some of those boxes.
And all those boys are that. You know?
And yes, exactly.
They're
All those boys tick some of those boxes.
I think we did, and I did try and run it, and I appreciate it. All the boys got on board behind the intention. We did the intention before we did it. We did a bit of breathing. We did,
yeah.
and all those. You think all those walks of life, and all those boys were open to that.
But
It's
it just goes to show the fact that we're all, of a similar thinking.
yeah, and,
We're at a
and-
similar stage in the journey.
Yeah, and it was an excellent conversation. I look forward to doing more big podcasts like that, I think.
Well, and under different situations.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that group of guys and other extended members who couldn't make it. You know, there's other guys that we've had on that all fit into that same category, but we could only get 7 on the night.
Yeah.
So, meeting up in different situations. That's what I was saying. Sorry, I lost track of where I was going. So yeah, you know, we go to the range, we go camping, whatever challenge, mountain climbing. You know, I brought it up with Trent. That we should. He took it a little bit as a challenge. I was meaning more so a group activity, but but power to him. That's the kind of warrior that he's got inside him. You know what I mean?
But yeah, look, I think you're right, and I think everybody wanted to hear what everyone else had to say.
Mm. Yeah, definitely.
You know, and it was humbling. You boys respected me enough to run it as well, because I did. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
I did. Sort
at the end of the day, mate, you're the host of the podcast. You really are. I'm just a guest that won't go away. You know, that's the kind of the way I see it. You know what I mean? It's like, what? There's a podcast on. I'll be in that. I'll throw my 2 cents. But at the end of the day, mate, this is your thing. You're the one that drives this baby, and everyone respects that. Yeah, including myself.
Yeah. So
even though I'm here all the fucking time.
No, I know, and I think coming out of that discussion and the things that we spoke about pretty openly, and I just, you know, my audio editing ability needs to improve, or our, you know, we've talked about that because the laughter was a bit loud, like it probably blew a few people's ears out. I do apologise for that.
Yes, we did speak of that.
But I wound it back as much as I could, guys, to include the audio. You know what I mean? It was. I know you can do it, but I don't possess the skill set right now.
We're getting there.
We're getting there, man. If you think of like back to the, you know, the start, you know, and I suppose we had an intention at the start, so. You know, those boys help clarify what we're talking about tonight, because what is unlocking the code?
Exactly.
What is it?
Yeah. Well, on the 9, basically, we set the intention in gratitude.
In gratitude, yeah.
Basically.
And
also
really
gratitude.
Talk about it, but it was interesting.
It was interesting where that took us, though. Yeah. Where everyone's mind went when they thought gratitude. We spoke more about what we thought about.
Yeah.
Instead of gratitude and fleshing out gratitude. We kind of skipped the step, really. I think we all...
Well, I think it's obviously that gratitude, you know, that is what... where our minds went, you know. And actually, I will post this on the page. I listened to a podcast about gratitude. Some dude studying gratitude. It was very interesting. And I've got to... Now we figured out tonight. I'll do that with that one.
Yes, righto.
And I suppose... So the original wording, and it is on the Instagram page, was on the business cards. I found one of those the other day, actually.
Did you?
Yeah. It was not in real good nick, however.
Remember when we fucking guerrilla advertised around the valley?
Yeah.
Just placing cards around.
But see, it comes out that at least one person picked up a card randomly.
That's right, because didn't someone email you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So one and that was like 2 or 3 months later, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That they picked it up.
Yeah, his name slipped my mind.
Yeah, his name escapes me too, but I remember the conversation we had about it.
Yeah,
it was pretty. That was a pretty awesome moment. But what was the one that was on the cards, my friend?
We're all searching for the code to life. Join us and let's see if we can figure it out. Now that was the first thing that we did.
The first iteration of what is unlocking the podcast.
And I think the reason we're doing this now, I think it needs to be said, is I think we're at a stage now where we have quite a back catalogue, and we are doing things to attract new listeners. You know, so instead of going right back to the intro, we can talk about it now.
We can talk about it now,
and because it has evolved, man. You know, and we spoke on the phone the other day, and the word that I got was exploration.
Exploration, exactly. And because that resonated with me. That conversation, and when you said exploration, it resonated with me. And from that, I put together, I just fleshed out a little sentence that was an exploration of how to successfully navigate the chaos of life.
Yeah.
But the flaw in that I found was a lot of that stuff's broad reaching, and it was my context in which I put it into use those words, but I thought we could flesh out together.
Yeah, I think so, and you know that the way you put that resonated with me, and it does take from a few of our influences, and you know what I mean. That this notion that we're dealing with is not a totally original one. We're just putting a different little bit of a spin on it.
Yeah.
However,
nothing's new under the sun.
No, that's right. But what we wanted to do was actually explore the context of that.
Yeah,
sentence.
our personal definitions of those words, the way in which we used them.
So exploration is obviously the first one. So an exploration of how to successfully navigate the chaos of life. So the first word there is exploration. And what I got immediately was past, present, future. Because if you think about it, that is what we've done.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We've explored far reaching into the past on multiple continents, you know, megalithic societies and culture and technology, and you know what I mean? Like we've really done that. And, you know, we're understanding that we have to live in the present because that's now.
Yeah.
You know?
And the ones that we do sort of on present really are Quest for Self.
Yep.
And a lot of these guys that we're getting on that are on board, you know, the Matty Noonans and stuff like that, they really, and the Franks, the Woody, really everyone's got their own take, you know. Some people may be specialists, but other people still have an opinion, you know, and everyone's opinions are welcome and sometimes informative. And I guess that leads me to sort of where I started to break down exploration too, and I thought to explore was to look at open-mindedly all the avenues of possibility.
Yeah, well, it's the mirror ball again.
Exactly. That's where filling the mirror ball starts, is with exploration.
And I think that's present as well, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
And, you know, you've got to be across as many things as you can and try and gain and understand as many perspectives as you can. You know, that's important, you know, and that's a lot of what we're trying to do.
Well, and through looking at the past and present, you can extrapolate the future.
Yeah.
You know, and you can select out those things from the past and the present that either need tightening up or tuning out altogether.
Well, you can control yourself and your mind and everything in the present. What you do in the present, therefore, affects what happens in the future.
That's right.
You know,
sometimes I may throw out the saying, "That's future Angus's problem."
Yes.
Because I know right now I may not be making the best choice.
Yeah.
But right now, fuck it. You know, that's future Angus's problem. Deal with it there. Yeah.
It's gonna come back around.
Yeah, which on a microscopic scale you can then extrapolate out to a global scale.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, if you've got whole societies acting like that, well, that's kind of what we're trying to eradicate.
Well, that's right.
That's future Angus's
positive and serving yourself
at
your highest and best in each moment as best you can.
That's right.
And that then there dictates your future instead of, you know,
and not only dictates yours, but everyone's.
And the people around you.
Because the more people that start to think like that, it's no longer the individual that is thinking in the now for the future.
Yes.
It's the town, the community, the city, the state, the country, the globe.
Exactly.
That is acting in the now for the future.
Team human, man. You know what I mean? I think that's the big answer.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Team human.
Now, just again on Team Human and thinking for the future, I was in a discussion with someone today about global warming.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I was taking the opposing view, not so much as a denier, but just saying global warming is a thing. I want to see finite data on human impact. You know, I want to be able to go this. Change in pH in ocean acidity changes temperature by this much.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's interesting data about the carbon dioxide has actually accelerated tree growth. We just keep cutting them down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
There's some interesting data about that as well. I think with climate change, I mean, we're going through it now. Like, it snowed in Victoria, Victoria last week.
It's raining in New South Wales.
There's a phone, and then Queensland's
on fire. Pretty much from the fucking...
There is a permanent haze in the distance at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's fire.
From the New South Wales border all the way up to Cairns.
Yeah.
I saw the
spot fires.
The rural fire.
128 fires or something like that.
That's the one. I saw the rural fire map today.
You know, and the weather is having a factor on that. The weather's definitely changing. The weather is nuts, right?
Oh, Jesus.
So climate change is happening. However, we understand to follow what we're saying here, we understand that through exploration of the past, that the planet has been in different stages, many different times.
Well, if you were to be living in the Ice Age and experience the change in temperature between the end of the Ice Age to the current temperatures, that to you would be global warming.
That's right. And the thing about the ice too, it needs to be said that we started being able to measure the ice when it's at the largest that it had been for 10,000 years.
Exactly.
Right. So the ice had anyway. And look, I think
we digress.
That's
a good another subject.
That's an interesting. Well, it's definitely a subject. However, it's an interesting take on what we're talking about because it's like we're trying to understand the perspectives. No one's denying that it's happening.
No, exactly.
Right. However, is it the globe? Is it the person? I think it's both, definitely, because we've both been a part of raping the planet. You know what I mean? Like some of the nasty things that we do. And that's the kind of thing that we do here.
It's the kind of thing that humans are doing.
Are they? Yeah. Well, I think we're all trying to explore as many perspectives as we can.
Yeah.
To be as well informed as we can.
Exactly, and that's what it's really about: is being well informed.
Yeah.
Not ideology follower.
Exactly. Don't believe in anything. Gather the evidence as much as you can, and then make your own decision.
Yeah. Don't follow anything just because it's convenient.
And that's us as well. Don't listen to us. Like you can, obviously you are. However, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
don't take
obviously you are, but also delve into anything that we say.
Exactly.
That we're only
synthesizing our data,
and we're only unlocking doors for those who are interested to go further.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, so I think we've the past.
I think we fleshed out the explore.
No, I just want to touch one more because the other big thing for the explore was mind, body, soul.
Yes.
And that needs to be spoken about because that's actually potentially probably a bigger thing than past, present, future. If you think about our mindset, our physical abilities, and therefore that reflects on how we feel about ourselves inside, in our soul, you know what I mean? Like, the effect that what is unlocking the code, that's what we've done as well, man. You know what I mean? Like, if you think that the dodgy studio that we started in.
And I think also to explore is to take ownership. And mind, body, soul is bringing it down to the individual level from past, present, future.
Exactly.
Past, present, future allows you to say it's not me. It wasn't me. I didn't do that. Mind, body, soul allows you to take on board and initiate change.
Yeah.
Because you can't change the past, you can't change the future, you can't change the present, but
you can affect
what happens if you're in control of mind, body, soul. Exactly. And not control. That's a bad word. Aware, and in sync with exactly.
Yeah, being in an aware and an observant state.
Yeah.
As much as you can, I think, is what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And it's so important, the mind, body, soul side of it. And that's... So it's like... Because we do actually do our best to try and live by the ideals that we espouse here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This is not just you know what I mean? We're serious about what we say.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? It may be total, mate science. However, we are trying to do that.
Yeah. No, I'm hearing you, bro.
And it's the triquetra. You know what I mean? That's what it is. That's what that is, man.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Mind, body, soul. That is what it is. Because if you can understand that, then you can use that to affect every other part of your life. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. Because by loving oneself, you better love others. You know, it's the feeling is healing. But not only better love others, well, you better love others because of the way in which you love yourself. Your cup is full. And that's respecting your mind, your body, and your soul.
Yeah.
If anything's lacking, your cup's not completely full, so you're not giving the absolute best of who you are.
That's right. That's right. And I think, but the other thing, I didn't write this down. We didn't actually talk about this. But the other part of the exploration is understanding discipline as well. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to explore these things, you must allocate the time to do it. You know what I mean?
Not only that, but I think the discipline also stems into filtering out the crap.
Yeah, it does, because you can better recognise. You know, you've synthesised. Well, from a data perspective, you've synthesised that much data that you can see the pattern.
The discipline of crunching through. You take in the data, you start to be able to weed it out.
Yeah.
Because you've seen the patterns.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's exactly where I was heading with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, and obviously the discipline to, you know, we've said it 1,000 times. So, you know,
the discipline it takes for the body.
The body,
you know?
Yeah. You know, we've done 1,000 Ks, well over 1,000 Ks now, probably close to 1,500 on bikes in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We've covered a lot of ground. That's taken a lot of discipline.
Yeah, man.
To do.
Yeah.
And we're reaping the benefits of that.
Exactly. Now we're having some fun and some technical stuff.
No, exactly.
So,
I love it.
You know, so exploration. That's what it is. You know, I don't have too much more to say.
No,
unpack
me
exploration.
neither.
I think we're pretty much done with that. So the next word would be successfully. Now, obvious question was the first one. What is successful? How do you actually determine that? You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
What is it?
Well,
how can you say I've successfully done something? Because do you ever successfully do anything?
And one person's perspective of success is not another's.
Exactly.
So I honestly believe that success is in the eye of the beholder. Success is subjective.
It is subjective.
It's your own success, and that's again going on from where you are, that you were with the exploration, the mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
That's why your cup must be full.
Yeah.
So as the way you look at things will change from if you're respecting yourself.
Yeah.
The way you look at things, because things will be harder or easier, so it'll change your perspective.
Yeah. No, I think if you did, we'll go back to discipline as well. If you succeed in your discipline equals freedom. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. So there is success in that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like we spoke about in the Magnificent Seven. It's not about, if I get to this point, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
I think success, as you say, is in the eye of the beholder, and it's defined down. It continues to be defined. You know? And you're going to be unsuccessful sometimes. Because that's fucking how shit goes.
Well, that's the chaos.
Yeah.
That's the next part.
That's the next,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the reality is, when
I was writing,
accomplishment of aim or purpose was the...
Yeah, that was the dictionary definition. Accomplishment of aim or purpose.
Yeah.
Now, down the same road as what you were going, a couple of words that I had written down was small goals, large goals, milestones, or stepping stones. It's all success.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whether they're small things or big,
yeah,
it's success.
Absolutely.
And whether you achieve those or not, it's still it's a type of success. You're winning or you're learning.
Yeah, exactly. And it's better to have a shitty plan
than have no plan.
Have no plan at all, because you can adjust a shitty plan.
That's right.
Right? You start playing that plan out. It's like, well, this isn't fucking working. I know where we want to go, so we just got to fucking deviate. You know what I mean?
Well, and plans can be learnt from.
That's right.
If you initiate a plan, you've put a sequence of variables into a trajectory.
Yeah.
Now, if you never had a plan in the first place,
you're just winging it.
It's hard to relive what those stepping stones were.
Yeah, but if you had a plan to start with, you've tried one avenue.
Exactly. Now you can start the process of elimination.
Yeah, exactly. Well, tried that. That didn't work. Okay, what's the next
Exactly. Boom. Right
But,
there.
but even if you achieve your bad plan and it doesn't work out, that's still somewhat successful as well. You know what I mean?
That's the learning. That's
the
all
learning.
part of the learning
You're
curve.
winning or you're learning. I think
Exactly.
that's pretty much it.
That's it, man.
You know what
At
I
the
mean?
end of the day,
That's what. I think that what there you go. I think that's what deems success. If you're successfully winning or learning
yeah.
in any situation,
Or if you're winning or learning, you are being successful.
yeah,
Because-
you are, because as long as you use that learning to your best of your ability, you know what I mean. As long as you
It's leading on to the next win.
exactly.
If you use that loss as a learning experience,
Yeah.
it leads to the next win.
Yeah. And the wins can't be like unattainable. I
No,
think.
well, the wins are the stepping stones,
Exactly.
the milestones.
Yeah.
You know, they can be small or large. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Even if it's, and that's, or Kerry, I said about, we're talking about, discipline and all that sort of stuff. And he asked me a question, how do you keep up when you're so distracted? And I said, you just got to do something every day. Like every day I do something related to the podcast, even if it's just open
Yeah.
a Facebook page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More days I'll do other things. You know what I mean? Just keep going.
You just need to, do, like you say, do something.
Do something.
Do something.
Yeah.
And, if you can throw something in there that, one of those things that you know you should do but you don't feel like doing, throw
Exactly.
one of them in
Throw
there.
one in there, yeah, exactly.
Because what that does is it makes you have that internal dialogue.
You have to.
And that's
yeah.
part of what understanding yourself is about. Makes you have that internal dialogue. Because there's a part of you that won't want to do it. And you've got to convince or argue or just lock up that other part of you that doesn't want to do it. You need to argue them down.
Yeah.
And
That's what needs
that's what motivation is. The more practice you have at doing that, of engaging with the beast that doesn't want to do the
Being
task.
comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's, that's it. You
Well,
know what I mean? I think you can't really being comfortable with the uncomfortable, winning or learning. That is what determines successful.
Yeah.
Or successfully navigating, which is the next word.
Well, it leads us on to navigate. Now, navigate, I ran into. I went down the line of. Well, all I could think of was like South Pacific Islanders, right? Reading the stars, reading the tides and the winds. They're all tools.
Yeah.
They're all tools in your toolkit. You know, whether you've
It's
got
interesting.
sunstones and like the compass that the early Vikings created, all that sort of thing.
It's an interesting thing too. I just thought about now because as soon as you say navigation, you do sort of think nautical. You know what I mean? I think there's an ingrained thing there. It's like,
Definitely. Well, it's featureless.
yeah.
It's featureless,
If
so
you can successfully navigate the ocean, you're doing well. Because
Yeah.
to know where the fuck you are in the middle of nowhere, a patch of water,
exactly, because it's featureless. See, navigating the land,
your topographical survey, you read the land.
it's not as difficult.
In saying that,
In
out
some areas.
out in the desert,
Well,
you just start wandering around.
hence why I said it's not as difficult
Yeah.
in some areas,
Man, when I
because
was
lots of people have been known to get lost in the desert.
When I was in WA,
But again,
it's
desert.
no. Honestly, when I was in some of the things I saw in WA, man, it's no wonder you get lost. Because if you wandered 30 metres into some of that, it all looks the same, man.
Yeah.
Like,
You're right. All around you, the whole horizon
Is everything
looks
the
like
same?
that little lump of tree line
Yeah.
all the way around you,
Yeah.
and then everything from where you're standing to that tree line,
It's the same.
it's just red dirt and spinifex.
Yeah, that little brand. Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's just everywhere the same. So yeah, I can completely understand what you're saying, but again, it's featureless.
It's
like the
featureless.
ocean is.
Yeah. And to navigate it, you would have to use the similar tools too. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
By the stars, navigation.
What's the only thing that's constant?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and so navigation, how, and what did I get with what and how? So, we're talking about sextant, stars, or what, like you said before, and we've talked about this many times on the podcast so far, is the tools in your toolkit. It's the fucking mirror ball again, man.
Yeah, yeah. The tools are how you deal with situations.
Yeah, it's the mirror ball
It's
again.
how you navigate. It's whether you choose left or right.
Yeah,
That's what.
Ziggle zag, man.
That's right. That's what leads you there.
Yeah.
So then that brings us on to chaos.
Chaos. Hang on. Chaos. Chaos. Life is chaos, man.
It definitely is.
Especially, it seems to be especially now. I think we've created a very fucking chaotic situation to exist in.
Definitely, I think so. But I think also, it's a subjective thing.
Oh, of course
because if
it
you
is.
were to go back,
Yeah, in the 50s they probably said it was chaos.
that
you know what I
it
mean?
would have been chaotic then also.
Yeah.
And if you were to bring someone from like the 20s to now, and like indoctrinate them, so
Yeah.
teach them everything we've got. Though I think personally, with what they went through with depression and feminine and stuff like that, I think they would be like, I don't know what you guys are arguing about.
Yeah. And that's the
Like,
flip side of
we
it
used
as
to
well.
worry about food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you guys have an abundance of that. You're worried about fucking shit.
You are right, and that's the contrast, isn't it, mate? It's like on one perception, life is chaos. However, if you look at it from another perspective, it is actually the best it's ever been ever. So, you know,
Yeah.
well, the best it's ever been ever that we understand, I should say, because that's
Well, we don't understand what it was like back in Egypt.
well, we
Could've been
are
amazing.
a species with amnesia, but that's a different story.
Mm.
So, you know, you've got to be able to navigate, and again, it comes back to the mirror ball where you just need the tools and the perspectives. And I think what we're trying to do here, we come back to what is unlocking the code, and we sort of said it in the bonus content that Patreon and special people have already listened to, that we want to be the dudes that interview those dudes.
Mm.
You know what I mean? We want to be what is unlocking the code. We want to navigate as many perspectives as we can and present that to the world
That's right. Well,
from our perspective.
from our perspective, so gathering perspectives, so
Yeah.
the podcast itself,
Yeah.
with every different individual that is exposed to it, if you think of the podcast itself as a mirror ball,
Yeah.
every individual
Is
that
adding
we
a tile.
interview,
Absolutely, yeah.
they add a tile, and they project out another perspective.
Yeah, look, that's what I mean. That's why I always say we, man. It's like, yeah, sure, it's my baby, I suppose, you know what I mean? However, it's not me, man, you know what I mean? Like, by 55 episodes now, this thing is,
Yeah.
it's got its own thing, you know what I mean?
We as a community,
Yeah.
we is a group of individuals.
You know, and, you know, we is in the Magnificent Seven, like,
Yeah.
that's, you know.
Et al.
Yeah.
Magnificent Seven and friends.
Exactly, yeah, and friends, yeah. There was some guys, you know, and I think you've just got to. The navigate thing that I wanted to, and I wanted to unpack it, was I had a global understanding, and we sort of touched on again in the bonus content earlier about the symbol of the podcast, which is just a sacred geometry symbol, nothing else, which is actually unique, you know, to podcasts because we listen and see a lot of them.
Yes.
However, a symbol like that transcends language because if we must again gather as many perspectives to navigate as we can to share it with the world. You know, welcome to Italy. You know, there's
Yes, exactly.
yeah, that's a new country like, you know, Italy. You know, some lovely Italian person has given us a listen, so thanks very much for that. You know, because even though we've only got, you know, X amount of downloads, we are across 15 countries, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's a small little podcast, however, we've successfully navigated our way into the minds of, you know, X amount of people around the world.
Yeah, exactly. And they're vastly spread across the globe.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to touch on.
Exactly.
Is the fact that it might be a small number, but it's a widespread.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that spread not only stretches around the globe, but back when we're talking about chaos, it also spreads back in time.
Yes.
Now, that's kind of where I was going when I was thinking of the chaos.
Yeah, with chaos.
I went down the road of the thought that I had, and the context was something to do with it's created by the group. And by the group, I mean human, team human. Team human creates this chaos.
Yes.
We do it to ourselves.
Yeah,
we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah, we've created the chaos, the modern society chaos that we live in the Western world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a perspective thing too, though, because a lot of the world is vastly different to how we live our lives.
Well, that's
You know,
right.
So there's different types of chaos. When you want to drop down into downtown Libya, I'm pretty sure that's a whole different type of chaos.
Definitely. And different groups around the world influence other groups.
That's right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And influence their chaos.
Yeah.
We don't only influence our own, we influence other groups,
Yeah.
other countries, other continents,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
But they also influence their own at the same time.
That's right.
So don't forget, their navigation is the choices they choose.
Exactly.
It's left or right.
Well, I think what you're going for there is what we said was that it's created by the group. But what did you say?
It's faced individually.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, it's the decisions we make as individuals
That affect the group chaos that we're creating.
that affect the group, that affects the chaos.
Yeah, exactly. But also can positively affect as well because it's
Oh,
a
definitely.
contrast, you know what I mean?
Chaos isn't always a negative thing.
No,
It can be chaotically positive.
absolutely. Yeah, you can have periods of positive chaos for sure. Yeah. Lots of awesome things happen at once. You know.
Well, the chaos is the good and the bad. It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah,
It's
within
black and
chaos,
the white.
It's the grey, mate. That's
As
what it
above is below.
but the chaos is the grey.
Well, yeah, no, I get where you're coming from with that.
Right.
I get it's the line in between the good and the bad, isn't it?
It's the chaos. The chaos is the
chaos.
grey, man, and that's where
Chaos
most of
is what
us-
comes out of the two meeting.
Exactly, and and that's where we in 90% of us meet is in the middle of the chaos together, and we just got to figure it out and try and get along. You know,
And I guess lastly, that brings us to life, doesn't it, mate?
it does, yeah.
Where did you go with that?
Well, obviously, being a bit reflective, sort of got an understanding of mortality with Granddad passing.
Mm-hmm.
I have pondered that. Well, I said it in the last podcast, the Unsupervised 3, is, like through exploration of mind, body, soul, to go back to the start, we've learned that energy is energy, you know what I mean? That's actually how you control the present, is through your energy and how you're interacting with other people, right? So that means you follow that line, when you die, that energy moves on to somewhere else, right? So that's what I believe. However, what if it is only one life? Because the reality is, if we want to be honest about our perspectives on the mirror ball, we don't actually know.
That's right. Now, while we can open-mindedly observe those positions of opinion about there being an afterlife, not having experience, you can only take on board those possibilities and group those together. You can't personally. You haven't gone there.
Yeah.
You haven't done that.
No. And look, you've obviously got your belief systems, your instincts, and your knowledge, and your data that you synthesise to come to your chosen standpoint, right? Whatever that is. However, you don't know. So if it is one life, what I said in the podcast was, what if it is one life? What are you doing? Or what if we do live multiple lives? What if this is the life that we get to sort everything out?
Yeah. Or are we all part of the one consciousness?
Exactly.
So once this life's over, we actually become one of the consciousness again, and we know we can. What if we could look back at our life and have a giggle with the other parts of the consciousness there, sipping on whiskey, like, look what I did.
Yeah,
look what I did in that life. Fucking squandered it.
Yeah.
Next time I go
it's
back,
ashes to ashes, dust to dust, man. Like our physical body returns to the earth,
That's right.
So it must do something.
Yeah.
And so that's where I went with life, because it's like, what is unlocking the code? We're trying to unlock the code to life. Like that was the original sentence. You know what I mean?
And my definition of life, I looked at from how would the podcast define life?
Yeah.
And I tried to think of it from that perspective. Like, how would the group connective consciousness define life. So I tried to incorporate a lot of things into it. And what I came up with was the finite thread in time from birth to death in this life and the next. Whether you believe it or not, parts of that are true. You know what I'm saying? It offers a lot of different perspectives.
Can you say that again for me?
It's a life, this finite thread in time from birth to death in this life and the next.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Because it is a finite thread in time. That's actually it's
a blink of the eye. It stretches
deep,
across all of the things that we've spoken about,
the
ancient history, etc.
That's deep, man.
We're throwing out perspectives from a tiny little blink of the eye.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that number you've thrown out before? The generations.
6,666 generations is 200 odd thousand years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, when you think
one
of
those.
when you think of the amount of generations and how long a generation lasts for, and what an average human lifespan is, you know, we've gone from horseback to space
in 150 years.
Yeah. So let's
70 years really.
Let's just think about that for a minute.
Yeah, in 100 years. So from 1840 to 1870 to 1970. We went from horseback to putting people on the moon. And I think...
And humans go back 3 million years. Modern human, in this form...
300,000 is the oldest.
300,000?
Yeah, it's not 3 million.
You sure it's
Hominids, I think, is...
Hominids? Really? Am I that far out?
Yeah. No, it's only 300,000. The modern human remains.
So are we talking like Australopithecus, etc., etc.
The modern human skeleton.
Okay, modern.
That's
human.
why I had that number in my mind.
Is it 250,000 to 300 instead? I was thinking 2.5 mil to.
No, it's 3 to 320 now. I think.
Okay.
Was the
my apologies.
And that's why I haven't used that number very much because the number's gone.
Because it's changed because it's new evidence.
6666 was 200,000. That was the rough.
Gotcha.
That's where I extrapolated those numbers.
Gotcha.
So, however, you're right, it's a fucking blinking time, man. So, however, the times that we live and what we've chosen to do with the podcast is put it out there, put our perspectives out there it's there now, you know what I mean? It's in the ethers, man. You know what I mean? It's our perspective on this time in our life. And I think what we're trying to do is through fixing ourselves and sharing that process and exploring these things like we're talking about, trying to successfully navigate the chaos, right, is to help other people, you know what I mean?
That's right.
And we are, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, not even, like, helping people directly and indirectly.
Yeah.
It's just being that voice of, like, hey, we're two mid-30-year-old guys with young kids and young families just trying to make it in this crazy, messed up world.
Yeah.
And this is our point.
Yeah.
And like, if we share that perspective and then the different levels of society all put out their conscious thought, it's kind of what we were talking about before. If we all let it be known what we're thinking, we can better group together to make it better for the future. Yeah, it's really, I think that's what it's all about.
It's interesting you talk about the future because the other way I went with it is like generational stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we are living under the actions of our forefathers and going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I think a part of this is we're going, hang on, we need to just talk about this shit for a minute.
Let's talk about it.
Right?
Exactly.
Let's talk about it because this is a bit nuts, right? There's obviously good things, but it's pretty crazy what we're doing, right? We need to, we can't woo the horse, we've still got to pay the bills. However, we can contribute in this form, to affect the generations after us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But be it directly through the coders, you know what I mean? Our awesome bunch of coders that we got out there, or whoever. If you say like one of the excellent listeners listens to one of our podcasts, right? It sparks a thought.
Yep.
In their mind, then they share that thought with someone else. It sparks a thought in their mind. You know what I mean? Like,
that's it, man. It's the butterfly effect.
It's the butterfly effect, man, and that's life. If we can affect and globally affect, because I think the more and more I look at it, I think we're all the fucking same.
Definitely.
Just different colours, different cultures, different bits and pieces. However, in the nuts and bolts of it, we're just all the same.
I've said it before, man, and it was the internet that opened my eyes. You know, once upon a time we had to travel the world and travel around to really notice these things, and those people were always described as worldly. You know, they were always viewed as sort of a little bit wiser because they've seen the other side.
They've seen the other side. They've been
Well,
in different places. Yeah.
The whole world can be exposed to that now through the touch of something that we all have in our phone. Everyone has it. Well, look, not everyone, but a very high percentage of people have connectivity to someone on the opposite side of the world at any time during the
If
day.
they want to, yeah.
And I think that's the most underutilized thing
In this life.
in this life.
Well, we've talked about this a lot lately, where I think we're coming out of the cocoon into the butterfly with the use of the internet, and you know, there's some extreme stuff going on right now. Where the rubber band effect will come back, and we'll see reason, and you know, hopefully, in our lives,
course correction.
yeah, and hopefully, you know, can go back to life. Hopefully, in our lives, what we're doing here, what is unlocking the code, successfully navigating the chaos of life. We just want to add our 10 cents, man. You know what I mean? And that's it. And gather as many good men or good people around us that either assist us directly by coming on the podcast or indirectly by support or whatever it is. And, you know, and what, you know, just have an effect on this life, and hopefully we can navigate the chaos to see clear that I think we are all the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely.
It's the Star Trek analogy, isn't it? Like living the Star Trek, you know, a utilitarian society. I mean, and obviously, even in that, there would be negatives and positives. However, if we could just learn to get along and focus our global initiative on something else, you know, we would...
well, just let's focus our global initiative on making the future better for ourselves.
Yeah, and therefore better for our children and their children. And you know what I mean? And it reverberates down the line.
That's right. Well, if it takes someone to start it.
Yeah.
And I think our parents already put it in motion.
Yeah.
I think they were the ones, you know.
To a degree.
I think it goes back to the World War I analogy. When we were talking about that and the survivors of that and the way things started to change.
Yeah.
Look, it's been going on for millennia.
Well,
who knows?
You know, that's the thing. It's only been 100 years, man, since the end of World War One. You know what I mean? Like, that's interesting to analyse that. You know, that's a bit of a moment in time, talking about finite points in time.
Well, that's right, and it's a blip that's within our memory.
Yeah.
You know, there may have been blips further back, but it's one that's with good record.
Well,
one
it was the war that ended all wars. You know what I mean? We took it to another scale, and it created the chaos that we live in now.
It affected so many families and people globally too.
Yeah.
The percentage of people that were affected was massive.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, you know, I think if it is sort of to go back, and maybe we should tie this in a bow, because I feel like
100%
talking about something else, which we'll get onto. However, if it is one life, let's try and navigate the chaos. You know, to go back to what we're talking about. Let's explore and try and navigate the chaos. You know, and join us and see where we end up. Because the thing is, like you said, we go back to where we started, the Magnificent Seven. Those boys come from all walks of life. They all found their way to the table.
That's right.
You know, and recorded one of the best. It was awesome, man. Like, it was so cool.
It was an amazing podcast.
Yeah.
And outside of the podcast, even if we hadn't pushed record on that conversation, that was an amazing conversation. That's all it was. It was a conversation of sharing ideas between 7 like-minded people that was captured on record for other people to listen in on.
Yeah. And the rest of the night was awesome too, just for the record. You know what I mean? Like, we all ended up in the Rainbow Tide. You saw the Instagram post.
And kudos to Frank for taking away that night.
Yeah, he did.
I was witness to the strategy that he played.
Yeah.
And he came out, you know, he played the numbers in the end.
Yeah.
And just,
Cards fell
hats
his way.
off to him. Cards fell his way.
Yeah. That's how it is. So, what is unlocking the code? Unlocking the Code is an exploration of how to successfully navigate the chaos of life. That's what it is.
And that's a wrap, peeps.
That's a wrap. So enjoy that. Enjoy Everlong. You guys know the drill. We're going to crack onto something pretty cool in a minute. That'll be coming soon to you. We'll talk
Peace
soon,
out,
guys.
ladies and gentlemen.
Cheers.
See you next time. 1, 2, 3, go.
Throw myself into and out of the red, out of her head she sang. Come down and waste away with me, down with me. So how you wanted it to be. Over my head, out of her head she sang. And I wonder, when I sing along with you, if everything could ever feel this real forever. If anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, you gotta promise not to stop when I say when. She sang. Breathe out so I can breathe you in, hold you in. And now I know you've always been out of your head, out of my head I sang. And I wonder, when I sing along with you, if everything could ever feel this real forever. If anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, you gotta promise not to stop when I say when. She sang. And I wonder, and I sing along with you, if everything could ever feel this real forever. If anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, you gotta promise not to stop when I say when. She sang.